right, we have A/B tests. We can actually understand how beneficial this is. And what do you think, right? Put your hands up if you think we saw more people subscribe to Plus, less people subscribe to Plus. Okay, interesting spread, but I think most people are right. More people subscribe. As developers, we don't like pop-ups, and things might be difficult for us. But for users, right, it could be beneficial. Running this as an A/B test, it really takes away that kind of subjective opinions. The data should be the loudest voice in the room when we're making these decisions. All right, yeah, thanks everyone for coming to our talk. I'm Ed, this is Jamie, and we're going to talk about A/B testing and what we do at Deliveroo. So we're going to go over some A/B tests that we've ran, which have had some kind of surprising results that I think are worth sharing. We'll talk about what learnings we got from those A/B tests, and then we'll go over some best practices and hopefully convince you, if you're not already, to run A/B tests. And if you are already running A/B tests, you can also learn something as well. So if you're not familiar with Deliveroo, we're an online food delivery platform. We have over 100,000 restaurant and grocery partners, which are delivered by over 150,000 riders. We're available in 11 countries around the world, such as Italy, so I hope you're all avid users. And we develop 4 Android apps internally at Deliveroo. And kind of the key point for this talk, as we just mentioned, is that we run about 200 A/B tests every year. So as I said, my name is Ed. I'm an Android engineer. I work predominantly in kind of the menu space, and I'm joined by Jamie, who works on home. Cool. Before we jump into the first A/B test we're going to talk about, I have a quick question. So who here is already running A/B tests? Cool. A few people, but yeah, most people are not. So hopefully by the end of this talk, you'll be kind of convinced to run A/B tests. Okay, so yeah, let's jump in. This is the sign-up screen on our app. You can see that you can sign in with social media, or you can continue with an email address and add a password. So what might we want to drive on this screen? What kind of metrics are we looking at? Obviously, the amount of people that continue through to sign up is very important for us here. So how could we get more people to sign up? So we look in our analytics and our data, and we can see that people who sign in with social media actually successfully sign up more often than people who sign with email. So that might be because with signing with email, there's more friction, right? You have to type your email address, your password, etc. So how could we guide people to use social media? So we decide, well, what if we remove the background color from the button, right? Make social media more prominent. Hopefully that kind of guides people to using social media to sign up. But is that true, right? That's just an idea that I had, right? Maybe people will think, oh, I want to sign in with email, but now I don't see the option, so they might drop out. If only we had a data-driven way that we could determine that, which is, of course, that, yeah, we can run an A/B test. So for those of you who aren't familiar with A/B tests, it's a way that we can compare multiple versions of the same feature against each other. What we do is we have one version of the feature, which is kind of the existing version, live to half of our users, and then the new change that we want to implement is live to the other half. We run that for a few weeks, and then at the end we can see, right, using our analytics and our metrics, which of those performed better, which drove the metrics we want to drive, and then we can roll that version forward. This allows us to make an apples-to-apples comparison. So for example, if we had a marketing campaign which said, hey, sign up to Deliveroo and get a free pizza, that's going to drive a lot of signups. So how do we know if the signups have come from the marketing campaign or from our experiment to change the button color? So as I said, right, we have the control, which is the existing version of the feature there on the left, and then we have the variant, which is the new version of the feature on the right. And half of our users see the control and half see the variant. So if we ran this experiment, this A/B test, what do you think? Put your hands up if you think more people signed up with the experiment. Put your hands up if you think fewer people signed up. Or maybe it was the same. Put your hands up if you think it was the same. Okay, yeah. Most people think it was the same. But actually, we got more signups. So we saw, we were able to demonstrate through our A/B test that, this simple change of changing the button color could drive more signups. And really, kind of the key takeaway here is that a small change can have a big impact. All we did was change the color of a button, and we got more people signing up to our app. Okay, let's move on to another A/B test. So a little bit of foreshadowing first. Who here cares about state restoration in their app? Okay, yeah, remember that. So let's start with a story. I'm making an order in the app. I'm going to cook dinner later, so I'm adding some items to my basket. And then I get a text message from a friend which says, hey, check out this cute cat video. So of course, I jump on that. And I watch the cat video. Then one thing leads to another, and I've spent the next hour watching cat videos. But my stomach starts to rumble, and I'm thinking, oh wait, I was doing something before that. I should go back to the Deliveroo app and finish my order. But what's happened? My basket has disappeared. Where's all of the items that I added? As you could have guessed from earlier, right, we weren't handling the process being killed. So the items were, there in memory. When the process died, the items were lost. Not a great user experience. But how big of a problem is that? So we looked at some of our user feedback through the Google Play Store and other channels, and we saw some people complaining about this kind of issue. But, my phone has 8 gigabytes of RAM. Surely, right, the app isn't being killed that often. So we added some analytics into our app to be able to measure just how big of a problem it is. And we found out that, okay, yeah, this is an issue that we should probably solve. So as we're data-driven people, we ran this as an A/B test. So in the control, it was the existing kind of, you lose your basket if the process is killed. And in the variant, we save the contents of the basket to the disk so that if you come back to the app later, we can retrieve your basket for you. So what do you think? With this experiment, did people order more food when we saved the basket to disk? Yeah, people think so. Did people order less food? Probably not. No, one person. Or did it stay the same? It didn't make any difference? Yeah. So people ordered more food. And I think this is a very good example of why handling process death in our app is important. And because we ran this as an A/B test, we have the data to back that up, and we can go to our kind of partners within the business, and we can give dollar values to how big these problems are and why we should solve them. Awesome. I'm going to hand over to Jamie now, who's got some also fun experiments from the home feed.
Thank you, Ed. Hey, everyone. My name is Jamie. I'm also under at Deliveroo, working mainly on the home feed. So this is our splash screen. It's the first thing you see when you open the Deliveroo app. And we do some quite important work on our splash screen. First things first, we go to fetch your user's location. This is pretty integral to the rest of our user journey. When you open the home feed, we need to show partners near to you, so we need your location. And the other key thing actually we do at the same time is we fetch all the feature flag values. So we go to an API endpoint that tells us, hey, which feature flags are enabled, which features are enabled, and crucially, which A/B tests are in. And while we're doing that complex work, we have a little nice pretty animation to kind of hide it. You can visualize this sort of work as this sort of like Gantt chart style thing, where we've got the animation going, but while it's going on, we've got the initialization work. As soon as that work is done, we finish the splash screen, we can move on to home and start loading the home feed. But actually, this is the kind of a best case scenario. Sometimes stuff is really quick, so all that work you're doing at the splash screen location maybe comes up pretty quick. But actually, for a long time in the Deliveroo app, the animation just kept running when the work was done, and you had this big gap in the middle where nothing useful is happening, and you're just sitting watching animation. And we went to the designers like, hey, can we just cut the animation short because we've done the work? And they're like, no, it looks really odd if you cut it half through, so we're not doing that. So one thing we decided to explore is that, well, if we do the work really quickly and we still have all this time to wait, can we move that little block there that's loading the home feed? Can we move that earlier? So an experiment we ran is to, when the work happens really quickly, we'll move that load home feed stuff into the splash screen so that when we transition to home, if the data is already there, you have to wait again. So it's a huge difference in the latency of when you end up seeing the home feed. Here it's like as soon as you transition to home, before you have to wait another load animation. So the net change there actually was like a whole 30% TTI, so time to interactive improvement. Whole 30%, which is a huge change. So the only change, we ran this experiment, literally the only change was the latency. The end user didn't notice that it was preloading. All they saw was that, hey, the home feed's loaded really quickly. So, hands up if you think people ordered more food when the home feed loaded slightly quicker. Some hands. Ordered less food when the home feed loaded slightly quicker. And no change at all. Hands up for no change at all. Yeah, fair enough. Well, no surprise, not a trick question. Actually, people ordered more food. And I think, we've seen a lot of experiments that move metrics in the right direction. The surprising thing here is actually orders went up by a lot. And it's not just like, hey, some people ordered a bit more food. This is actually our most successful experiment of 2021. We ran this. So, it blew out all the new features we built, spent months building. It didn't matter. We made the app slightly quicker, and people ordered a load more food. So if you take literally nothing else away from this, please go look at your latency. I guarantee it will move your numbers. Another learning from this is that you should only try and build, when you're running experiments and A/B tests, you might have the chance you roll something out, it's not successful, and you want to roll it back. So you've got to really think about only building as much as you need to run the experiment. So in this case, actually, we run this on iOS only initially. It is important to get an accurate spread across user base. This one makes sense to only run on iOS at the start. And had this not been successful, had it been flat and not made a difference at all, then we wouldn't have to do all the complicated work on the Android side to pull it out of the home feed and put it in the splash screen. And the same thing, if you think about UI tests and other testing things, you've got to be really confident your feature works. But again, you don't want to do a load of work and then roll the feature out and then it's unsuccessful in the A/B test and then have to delete it all. So I'm not saying always write UI tests for your experiments. I'm not saying never write UI tests for experiments. But you've got to do the maths yourself and work out, hey, I need to be confident this feature works when I roll it out, but also don't want to waste a load of effort. Great. This is a really fun one. I really like this A/B test. So this is the item recommendation screen. So as you go from the basket in our app to checkout, we will recommend you a few items that you may want to your basket. It was pretty simple when we first launched. Here's some items. Here's a button to add it to your basket. Nice and simple. At some point, we ran an experiment to add images to that. It sounds pretty simple, but we added it, ran as an experiment. It was successful. So when people see the nice pictures of pretty food, they go, oh yes, I want to eat that. So add it to their basket, and that experiment was successful, which is great. And then we actually broke it. Later in the year, we shipped a bug on the Android app, which broke this screen. The images stopped loading. So it's not pictured here, but you saw they were placeholder images in that case, which is a real shame. So we spotted it, and we're like, okay, the question is that how quickly do we need to fix this? Can this wait for the next release? We have a release chain releases every week. So can this fix wait for the next release, or is it something we need to hotfix now? So my question to you is, if you've got this issue raised and some images are broken in your app, would you hotfix it? So hands up if you would release a hotfix for this issue. Surprising amount. Hands up if you would wait for the next release in a week's time. Yeah, okay. I'm in your boat. This issue got raised to me, and I was like, that can wait till next week. Don't worry about that. It's not an issue. However, the great thing about A/B tests is because we knew the exact dollar value of what those images added, thanks to the experiment we ran, in the year, we knew exactly the dollar value that was costing us by having this bug. So yeah, thankfully we had already done experiments. We knew what the dollar value was, and that helps us make a decision, right? So again, I'm not coming here to say, hey, you should always hotfix every issue you see, or you should never hotfix. The fact that A/B tests give you the data-driven amount of like, what's the dollar value we're losing here by not hotfixing this, it's helped you make a decision. It's not subjective. It's like, I wouldn't have hotfixed this, but when I saw the numbers of how much money it was costing, I was like, okay, we should probably fix that. Yeah, and without the A/B tests, it probably wouldn't have been hotfixed, and we lost money without actually knowing we lost money. Fantastic, great. I'll hand back to Ed.
Awesome, yeah, thanks for that, Jamie. Cool. So yeah, I've got a couple of A/B tests to talk about now on our Plus subscriptions. So if you're not familiar, Deliveroo Plus is our subscription program. So you can pay a little bit of money per month, and then you get free delivery on your order, as well as some other perks like exclusive offers. We also have different tiers of the subscription. So, you can pay a little bit more per month, and then you need to spend less on your order to get free delivery, or you can spend less per month, but you need to spend a bit more to get free delivery. And then once you've spent, over your minimum order value, you can see the free delivery there in the app. But when we built this, there was no easy way for a user to kind of switch between tiers. So for example, if I am on the gold tier and I realize, most of my orders are above £25, I could probably save some money by switching to silver. Well, you would have to cancel your subscription, wait until the end of the month for that, subscription cycle to finish, and then remember to sign up again to silver. So as you can imagine, that's like a really painful experience. A lot of people are probably going to forget that they need to do that, and we would see a lot of people dropping off from Plus. So we decided we would make this simple process in the app. You just tap a few buttons and you can switch tiers. And of course, as we're data-driven people, we ran this as an experiment. So you can see there in the control, it's the existing workflow. You need to cancel, resubscribe, and all that. And in the variant, we added a button in the app so that you can easily switch. And our kind of hypothesis here was that by allowing people to switch easily, we're going to retain more members on Plus. So what do you think, right? Put your hands up if you think that our retention increased by building this. Yeah? I think, yeah. Put your hands up if you think it decreased. That's surprising. And put your hands up if you think it was the same. No one really cared. No? A few people. Yeah, so retention did increase, I think, as you'd expect, right? You make something easier in the app, people are not going to abandon their subscription. But what was really surprising for us is that we thought people would switch from gold to silver, but actually more people were seeing the value of Plus and switching from silver to gold. And by running this as an A/B test, we're able to get those additional insights into how users are using our product, as opposed to just rolling something out. You get a lot of data about additional metrics that might not be the primary metric that you're tracking. And as always, solving a known customer problem is a big win for us and for the customer, so that's great. Right, so the next A/B test is about pop-ups. How do we feel about pop-ups? I don't like them, right? I'll be honest. So as a user, right, they're really annoying. I'm in the middle of doing something and you see a pop-up and it gets in the way. I'm just going to dismiss it straight away without even reading it. So we know this as users ourselves, right? They're really frustrating. But as developers as well, pop-ups and dialogues can be like really difficult to work with. They can be hard to test. If you have a pop-up that only displays once for the user, you then need to go and create a new user if you want to see that pop-up again. It can be difficult to make them accessible, and then they can interfere with other pop-ups and modals you might have for errors or permissions, things like that. could they be useful, right? We on our basket screen, we have this little like hyperlink that says, get free delivery, which you click on that and it takes you to sign up to Deliveroo Plus. But it's really small and people don't really notice that. So what if we made it really clear to people that, you can get these great benefits by, showing this pop-up right in their face. But, my opinion would be, right, if I'm in the room there, I would say, oh, that's just annoying. People are going to dismiss it. No one's going to read it. People are just going to quit the app, right? Go to a competitor. But, right, we have A/B tests. We can actually understand how beneficial this is. So we ran this as an A/B test. And what do you think, right? Put your hands up if you think we saw more people subscribe to Plus. Put your hands up if you think less people subscribe to Plus. Or put your hands up if it was the same, it didn't really have any effect. Okay, interesting spread. But I think most people are right. More people subscribe. And I think, here the key learning for me is that as developers, we don't like pop-ups and things might be difficult for us, but for users, right, it could be beneficial. And by running this as an A/B test, it really takes away that kind of subjective opinions. The data should be the loudest voice in the room when we're making these decisions. All right, thank you for listening. I'm going to hand back to Jamie, who's hopefully going to help you to convince your company to run A/B tests.
Amazing. Okay, cool. So you're probably sitting there going, well, Jamie, it's absolutely fine. You guys come up here and saying, hey, you should run A/B tests when you've got data scientists, we've got the infrastructure set up ready to make them super easy. You may be sitting there going, I'm the only engineer at my company. We've got no data scientists and my management doesn't want to run A/B tests. They just want to launch the features as possible. I'm here to hopefully you've been sold, but I want to give you some more facts and insights to convince your company or management. So don't just take our word for it. There are bigger players that are doing much bigger A/B tests than we're doing. So this is a podcast I listened to a few months ago, and there was one little anecdote in there I found super interesting, so I'm including it here. So in the year 2000, that was when Google first added ads to their search results. And obviously, intuitively, you think, oh, we're adding ads, like it's not a true search algorithm. This might degrade our user experience. People will be less happy when they see ads. So they actually ran this as A/B test back in the year 2000. Interesting split of 99 to 1. So what that meant is that they had 99% of people were seeing ads, and then 1% was a little holdout group that were not seeing any ads. And then actually they forgot about it in the year 2000. So they didn't realize until 2008 that there was they had 1% of their users were not seeing any ads, and they're not making any money from them. So they realized in 2008, it's like, oh, okay, that's quite annoying. We've 8 years of revenue down the drain, but we actually probably the biggest A/B test data set you could possibly ask for. So, what do you think happened? Do you think that people that saw ads end up making more searches on Google? Hands up, you think more ads means more searches? Hands up, you think more ads means less searches? And hands up, do you think it make absolutely no difference? People just search anyway. Fair enough. Well, counterintuitively, people search more. And this was over long periods of time as well. So people would, I don't know how or what people's going through people's brain, but subconsciously, we end up making more searches over a long period of time. We come back to Google when we see ads. So yeah, big companies run A/B tests as well. It's not just little old Deliveroo. And even they have surprising results that are counterintuitive to them. There's also scientific research to back this up. So there's a paper published in 2021. It's called, what is it called? Experimentation and Start Performance Evidence from A/B Testing. And they looked at 35,000 different startups, mainly web-based ones, not app, but it's all relevant. And they found conclusively that of those 35,000 they sampled, startups that adopted A/B testing grew more on average than those that didn't. And one interesting fact that really stood out to me was that you think, oh, if you've got A/B test something, you've got to wait for results to come in. Do we roll out? Do we roll back? You might think actually you end up launching features at a slower rate. They actually found that no, people launch more products because you're testing more things and you're testing smaller things. As a quote that stood out to me, we find that A/B testing leads to a 10% increase in visits in the first few months after adoption of A/B testing for the startups in their sample. And after a year of experimentation, the gains range from 30 to 100%. So those of you who are not A/B testing currently, I guarantee there's super low-hanging fruit you can run as experiments and just validate that your metrics are moving in the right direction. Fantastic. Okay, cool. We'll finish with a few takeaways, pun not intended, some best practices and things you should know. So even if you walk away from this and go, hey, we're not going to run A/B tests, I don't care what you say, please, if you're not using feature flags, please go use them. The key thing is that app rollouts take a long time. App updates take ages for people to download them. So feature flags, regardless of your experimentation or not, mean that, hey, if something goes wrong, you ship something bad and there's a bug, you can just turn it off one click in a backend and it disables it across your app without having to do an app update. This is like beyond useful and will save your bacon so much. It also enables you to roll it out and be able to test stuff. So we have a lot of features at Deliveroo where we can roll it out to just employees. So we have a load of people that can test it at our company before we roll it to the public. Again, very difficult to do if you're just doing it via code in the app. And one of the great things about development is that it means you don't have this huge feature branch that lives alongside master, then you have to merge it in later. You can create a feature flag at the start, disable it, and then merge it, and often knowing under the safety that this is not running in the public, and then as soon as it's ready, you can actually start enabling it. And one of the things we do quite often, you've got quite core logic in the app still, in all your apps, I imagine, that you're scared to touch. With feature flags, you can actually copy paste it, hide the new implementation behind a feature flag, make all your changes you need to do, and then release it. And if something goes wrong, you can safely just flip the flag back and go back to the old known working one while you resolve the issue. So yeah, please use feature flags if you're not already. And then on top of that, why do we need to run A/B tests? So actually being able to evaluate the features to the exact dollar value of what your feature does is super important. Having joined Deliveroo from a company that wasn't running A/B tests, it now scares me to move anywhere else where people are just rolling stuff out without knowing if it's making negative impact to their products. And yeah, you get sort of a snowball effect. So the first A/B test you run, you learn a little bit, it informs, hey, we should run this, or we should run that. And it sort of informs the next one. So yeah, you sort of snowballs about your learnings about how people use your product in surprising ways. And yeah, data-driven decision-making means that you don't get loud voices in a room making subjective decisions that may actually be negative impact your product. You can let the data say, hey, people did more when we did this. And apples to apples comparison, you can be absolutely certain there's a lot of probability that, hey, this change actually led to this change on metrics. And, none of us like adding bloat to our apps or features that do nothing. Code bases inflate. So by using A/B tests, you can actually, you can roll a feature out, it has no impact. We'll just, roll it back, we delete the code, it never happened. And you don't bloat your app with useless features. And one to sell your product managers on, you can actually avoid rolling out features that have negative impact. So if you run everything as an experiment, you could never have a negative impact on your product, which is amazing. Some best practices more. So this is important. When you're running A/B tests, you want to decide the metrics you want to measure at the end, at the start of your experiment. This is because when you get any set of data, it's very easy to manipulate the data to tell the story you want it to. So by deciding your metrics at the very start, it means you can stop your future self from, okay, I'm going to twist this accidentally to tell the story and I'll roll this feature out. More effort does not equal better results. Have we seen with the latency stuff I showed earlier that you can spend months on a feature, it doesn't mean it's going to be good. It doesn't mean it's going to have positive impact for users. So yeah, more effort does not equal better results. And ideally, if someone has an idea for a large feature, if you can work out a way to test that in a smaller experiment first and validate, hey, people are using this, they're engaging with it, and then we can, they use that as evidence to why we want to invest. This is a tricky one to explain, but if you imagine on a home feed on Deliveroo or any sort of maybe a social media app, we have loads of content on your home feed. If you have one experiment that's adjusting the order of things, another experiment that's adjusting what kind of things show on the feed, there can be interacting, overlapping impacts that might make your results strange. So yeah, trying to avoid overlap interaction. Most it should be fine, randomization works, so stuff will be divided, but yeah, be careful. And clean up public experimentation. This is a big engineering culture one. I'll tell you this, I found a code last week in Deliveroo that was work in progress, it's 2021, and the feature flag was never rolled out, it never saw production. I was like, oh, this code is doing nothing for the last 2 years. I clean it up. So if you can build the engineering culture to be able to clean stuff up, you're going to save yourself a load of unused code. And yeah, finally, remove unused code. How are we doing on time? Let me give you a thumbs up. Time okay? Okay, cool. So there's some data science things to know. I'm not very good at explaining these because I'm not a data scientist. Before you run A/B tests, I would go read up about them. But crucially, if you do have access to a data scientist, ask them a load of questions. There's a load of things you want to know. How long do I need to run an A/B test for before I can get my results? And you want to make sure it's not a false positive. You don't want to go, hey, we should roll this out. It was doing really good. But actually, it was just statistical noise. There was no reason. So I would recommend, these are not complex topics. They've got complex names, but like simple blog posts will tell you what you need to know. But if not, this is the data scientist's job. They've done a degree in this. Will be much better than you. Perfect. Thank you very much. That is the end of our talk. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Jamie. Thank you so much, Ado. That was very insightful.